How is it? So what? I mean, what is it exactly that's on debate here? Like that people aren't necessarily
There's
agreeing.
a lot on the table that's on debate.
Okay. What's the deal with the whole Alexander the Great?
So, what did they do after 1913? So, look at the play on words. What is now?
Yeah.
What was it before?
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay, Macedonia was a kingdom. Greece was in a kingdom at that time. So how can you supersede to the kingdom? But it wasn't known as Greece then. It was Athens.
It says here the name Macedonia is.
Let's go there. All right. So let's sort of whoever's following this, and if we can always go back to this. All right.
What's going on, man? So
Same as before.
yeah, we're doing 2 episodes in a day. So if we're dressed the same, I apologise. Yeah, man. So this episode, I wanted to discuss a very delicate subject. I feel like to a lot of people online, a very meaningful subject to yourself. Surrounding Macedonia, we put up a few stuff before around North Macedonia and that stuff, and we seem to get a lot of people comment on it and putting their 2 cents about it. So
Engaging
in it, and there's nothing wrong with that. I encourage it. Obviously, we want to keep it. Don't be so aggressive. Be mindful. It's not. There's no point to being aggressive and doing all that stupid shit. But whatever. Do you? Anyway, yeah, so put up a video last podcast. We were going through some different laws and IQs and stuff, and we'll check it out where Macedonia is on the list. And I asked Mladen, I asked you, is there a South Macedonia? And you said yes, it's currently occupied by Greece. Mm-hmm. You said the North is also occupied by the CIA and George Soros.
I said that.
You said some of that stuff.
Yeah, but it's may or may not be the case. Let's say that.
Okay.
You know
I'll play the video. Play what I put up, and then I'll ask you some questions. We'll talk about it.
All right.
Go through some of the comments maybe, and yeah, we'll just see what I'm just curious. To me, I find it fascinating. I find history fascinating. Mm-hmm. I find it fascinating that we actually really don't know what happened to a degree. Obviously, because if there was some kind of I don't know, maybe there is concrete fact on some of this shit, but the fact that people are still arguing it,
there's always going to be a back and forth debate.
Exactly, yeah. Especially when it's about
Between
people's heritage
parties.
and shit. People are so passionate about, and they get taught one thing, and other people get taught another thing, and then they grow up believing that, and that's just society in general.
Yeah, everyone has different belief systems.
Exactly, and there's nothing wrong with that either. And you can tell people to get fucked, whatever. If you don't agree with their opinions, whatever, but we've got this platform, so we can discuss.
It's our platform.
We can discuss whatever we
what
want.
we have read or believe
Exactly,
or think. I've read both sides of the argument, or multiple sides of the
argument. So have I. Yeah, I've done a bit of research on it
throughout my years.
Yeah. So we'll watch the video and we'll go from there.
Where's the south? Where's the east and the west?
Mladen freestyling.
Macedonia is the motherfucking best.
Is there a South Macedonia?
Of course there is.
Is it its own country?
It's occupied by Greece.
Oh.
We're under occupation. Even the north is occupied. By CIA and the Colour Revolution. George Soros.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got the biggest CIA headquarters in Europe. It's a puppet state.
And who's east and west?
East is in Bulgaria.
Okay.
That's Pirin, Macedonia. There's also a portion in Albania that's occupied by the Albanians, and a portion in Serbia that's occupied by the Serbs. Yeah. I think I mentioned that one time we were classified as southern Serbia, but it's always been Macedonia and will always be Macedonia.
Yeah. North Macedonia. Yeah, okay.
There's so many different ways of explaining it. Yeah. So what?
How is it? So what? I mean, what is it exactly that's on debate here? Like that people aren't necessarily
there's
agreeing.
A lot on the table that's on debate.
And is it priority mainly about the land?
Land, language, ethnicity,
Okay.
culture, history, ancient connection,
And it's basically
current
where it
status.
and all that is where was it birthed? Is that what you're saying? Like, was it? It's to me, it's confusing. Like,
All
I'm
right,
still
so
trying to get my head
ask the
around it.
questions. Yeah.
So
And I'll answer.
yeah.
So,
All right. So
or do you want me to prompt the questions?
back in time. No. So back in time.
How
right?
far
So
back do you
I
wanna
was
go?
I was always I'd never heard of Macedonia to be honest.
How
before
far
I met
back do you want to go? And I'll answer some questions around that period of time.
you. Yeah.
We can build a timeline.
Yeah. In the beginning, mate. So
How far back? There's
how far back
arguments-
does it go?
There's arguments to say that Macedonia is, or it's a fact that Macedonia itself,
Yeah.
as a name and a landmass, is thousands, or an idea,
Yes.
or a kingdom, or whatever you want to call it, is
Yeah.
thousands of years old.
Yeah. So there's ancient Macedonia.
Yes, and that also predates ancient
The term
term
Macedonia.
of ancient Macedonia
Okay, yeah.
as
What's
historically
ancient? What's ancient Macedonia? What does that refer
ancient
to?
is what would you say ancient is? Before Christ,
Yeah.
before Roman time. That's
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
At the time of Aristotle, Alexander. Prior to that, there was a lineage prior to Alexander and Philip.
Yeah.
Never did they ever say they're Greek. Let me interject with that to start with.
Yeah. So where does the term Greek come from, and why is Greece a thing, and how does that tie in with Macedonia?
Okay, so geographically, Macedonia is where it is described on the map. Like, how can I explain it? During Ottoman rule, the Ottomans had a map of Macedonia.
Okay.
Whether it's ethnic, geographic, there's a location that's designated as Macedonia. And that has been the case for a very long time, since maps are invented.
Yeah. Okay.
And prior to that.
Yep.
Okay. So that's that. So anyone that has ever, so even during Roman conquest, which is after Alexander, they have in their archives of what the province at that time of Macedonia was.
Okay.
It's always separate to anything else.
Okay.
Okay. So what's the timeline there?
Fuck did I know?
Of let's say the Roman occupation. That's after Alexander. How long did Rome occupy? How long did Caesar occupy in Rome and stuff?
Yeah. I got no idea.
That was...
Yeah.
There's also a timeline there. There's also a Byzantine timeline in relation to Macedonia.
Okay.
All right, so that's setting some points there.
Yeah.
Moving forward, ask another question, for example.
Okay. What's the deal with the whole Alexander the Great?
Okay, so he was a king of Macedon.
Okay.
He took that role after his father's death, who was also a king of Philip, the king of Macedon. He was a king of Macedonia at that time.
Yep.
It was a kingdom.
Okay, and then at what point did it all kind of separate?
The first time Macedonia as an entity, as a landmass, is separated is 1913 via the Bucharest Treaty.
Okay.
So
and that was I did read about that.
That's
so
the
that
first
was when
time that
Yugoslavia was
formed after that.
Okay.
But a portion of Macedonia fell under Yugoslavian rule at a certain point of time.
Yeah. Okay.
Or unification or some sort of idea.
Yeah.
That occurred as well.
Yeah.
It also occurred when the Bulgarians were in. They occupied Macedonia, or that portion of Macedonia, as well.
Okay.
Or the larger portion of the Vardar portion of Macedonia.
Okay.
So they lay claim there.
Yeah.
But that's only after a certain point of time.
Okay. Yeah. So with the
during their reign because Bulgaria did develop their own kingdom at some point.
So what's the deal with the name as well? Like, I was reading that recently in 2020, I think, or 2019.
Okay, because at one point the name did not exist, did it?
Macedonia.
Well, correct. From 1913, it did not exist. They wiped it off the map. By the partition, it was wiped off the map.
Okay.
So that they thought that they can get away with dissolving the whole idea of Macedonia. And all right, this will go back into 200 years or 100 years prior to that as well. There's others. So the name is a very delicate thing because the name ties into the land as well.
Okay.
It's one and the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So why did you, like, why is Greece so up? Like, why do they care so much about what you guys name your country?
Based on the partition, they were given a portion of Macedonia of the known region of Macedonia, which we refer to as Aegean Macedonia.
Yeah, so they have a Macedonia in Greece.
Yes.
Okay, and they didn't want it to kind of. So then you guys. So they accepted the Republic of North Macedonia. Is that right?
No, not at that time. The North Macedonia thing is replacing the term Republic of Macedonia, which is the current legal term of that landmass there, which is referred to as now illegally based on a interfered with referendum. Okay. So they created a referendum to change the name. Yeah. Because there's an ambition to join EU. Yeah. That's a part of it. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that you wanted to join NATO. That's, as far as I know, we are part of NATO.
Yes, because you changed the name. After you changed the name,
enabled us to get into NATO.
Yes, that was the whole thing. Is that what I read was that Macedonia wanted to be a part of NATO, and Greece wouldn't allow it because of the name.
Yep, they're blocking.
Yeah, and so then Macedonia came to an agreement where they would change the name to be North Macedonia.
Okay, so yes, Macedonia had a referendum. Yeah, and within that during that referendum, there was a call to boycott it and not. Okay. So what in turn that did, there was a level of activity towards boycotting this, going out and voting. But what in turn happened there is by boycotting, there wasn't enough votes to sustain in favor of this amendment to go through.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Are you following there?
Yeah.
Did I explain that correctly?
Yeah.
So by default, but that was very smart by whoever called the referendum. They must have anticipated us boycotting something. Yeah. Someone came up with the idea of boycotting, but in the actual fact it turned against
it was the whole goal.
It worked in favor of passing legislation.
Yeah. What was it? Was there another option?
No, the only option is Macedonia. Yeah. For the whole region.
No, but in that referendum, I'm saying.
That's the only other option.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Vote no against changing the name.
Yes or no. Yeah,
so they provided the option of North Macedonia.
Yeah.
And somehow it ties into the Ohrid agreement. There's an agreement there as well.
Okay.
So essentially, the people of Macedonia are opting into dissolving any connection to our true ethnicity, linguistically, historically, on every single level, by saying that even the Macedonian language is a Bulgarian dialect, which is completely incorrect. Okay. Macedonian language is a root language. It provides for most Slavic dialects. They say there was a Slavic migration. They call it a theory, which in fact is only a theory, to say that Slavs migrated to Macedonia, but most of the Slav countries can relate to Macedonia itself. Yeah. And what's older than Macedonia?
Okay.
What comes before Macedonia? Tell me.
I got no idea.
No one can answer that.
Yeah, okay.
It's a question that I'm posing as well.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Because even our costumes lend to other regions. We have so much in common with so many other regions of the world.
Yeah, okay.
And you can just keep diving into that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big rabbit hole.
It's a big rabbit hole.
Yeah. I actually asked ChatGPT. We'll go through what it said, and
even that region as an entirety, it's stronger together than it is separated.
Yeah. Okay.
Whoever, if they were all smart enough, they'd unify that land together.
Yeah.
And control the Balkan from there.
Okay.
Because that's another rabbit hole. If you control that region there, you've got the gateway from Turkey all the way through to Europe. And the only thing that's, I think, in my opinion, and I've sort of heard things to this note, that the only thing that's Macedonia has been able to sustain for such a small country of less, 2 million odd people, and with a lot of its youth leaving Macedonia, and that's another thing I want to touch on.
Yeah.
A lot of its youth are leaving for whatever reasons to other countries neighbouring, for opportunities, because they don't believe that there are opportunities there.
Yeah. Okay. Is Macedonia classed third world?
Technically, yes, but it's a lot of elements. There's a lot of first world situations there as well.
Yeah.
The people aren't silly there.
Yeah, right.
But there is a certain dynamic that I understand.
Yeah. Fuck, I didn't even think about the youth leaving, how much of an effect they can have on a small country.
There's opportunity to bring people back there. I'd love to go back there. I've been back there.
Yeah, okay.
I was born there.
Yeah.
And we left not because we were forced or wanted to.
Well, you were forced essentially.
Yeah, I was forced as a child. And we left all my cousins, grandparents, aunties, uncles that I loved, that I remember as a little boy. And I was 5, 10. I think I had my 5th or 6th birthday here.
Yeah.
Back when I was back in 1985, I think.
Yeah.
We moved here.
Yeah. Okay.
And went back in 1990. That was awesome. Got to see everyone while they were still around. And then went back 2006 to see my grandfather, and that was awesome just to see him. Yeah. And I got into conflict there just with the locals, just because I spoke different, and they're brutal there too. Yeah. And you can't tell me I wasn't welcome. Yeah. By everyone.
Yeah, because you were an outsider almost.
And they're like that. So and they tell me on these chats, oh, you're trying to defend Macedonia from over there. Why don't you defend it from in here? Yeah. Well, you're not doing such a great job from in there either. Yeah. I'm trying my best. Man, it's expensive.
How can you defend it
it's
from
expensive
inside,
to live in Australia. Like, we can sustain good lifestyles here too. They can sustain good lifestyles there if they're capable. Yeah. I hear about people doing awesome there. The governments have bulletproof glass windows on their jet black limousines, bro. Yeah. And the people do or don't, depending on their political persuasion, or what businesses they have in line, or whatever was left over from coming out of Yugoslavia, whatever they could scrounge up and steal, and this, that, and the other. Yeah. So who the hell are they to judge whoever is outside of Macedonia? Because traditionally we're the sort of people from Macedonia that we do pechalbari. We go out and work in other countries and stuff and earn a living and send back home and go back, and our mothers are waiting for us to come home and to see their sons that have gone abroad to earn a living. Yeah. My grandfather was invited to Australia to do the same before my grandmother and my 2 uncles and my dad came to Australia. Yeah. And they built a home here and this, that. They went back with containers and a hills hoist, Yeah, wow. Then my mum heard about it all when she met my dad, and she said, let's go to Australia. I want to see how it is here. Yeah. And we did that. Not out of force. No. Out of just the opportunity that we could.
Exactly, yeah.
To start a life here.
Absolutely, yeah.
I miss the thought of what it could have been for me over there. Yeah. I would have loved to have done something. Yeah. Yeah. My heart's still there. I'm Australian, Macedonian.
Yeah, for sure.
I love both. I couldn't, if they were playing soccer in the World Cup together, I'd say whoever's the best man to win, like I'd honestly, I'm privileged to have grown up here. Okay. They would have loved to have been in my position, and I would have loved to have also experienced more life there, but it's expensive to like family of 4, if I want to go and show my kids what it's all about there and go back to Scotland, for my wife and do a family trip, it's going to be no less than 20,000 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
And like, man, I'd love to come up with that.
Yeah.
But the expenses of living here, and yourself, so high for our. It's a high standard of.
Absolutely, yeah.
You have to make money, a lot of money, to just stay.
Yeah. Just
at
say,
zero.
Yeah, neutral. Just say break even.
Just to break even.
Yeah.
And hell yeah, I'd love to go back there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I'd like to go there. Yeah.
A lot's happened to our family from there.
Yeah.
We have a very strong family legacy. I'm very proud of all the things all our families have achieved, all our family members have achieved.
Yeah.
From my immediate family.
Yeah. Okay.
All the things that they've done.
Yeah.
I always brag about cousins, uncles, grandparents.
Yeah. Cool.
I want to go back and find more information out about my family.
Yeah.
And what they did.
Have you done the ancestry DNA?
No, I don't want to. Yeah, I'm torn on that.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You want to send them your DNA?
No, not really. I want to do my own research because I believe there's archives. There's, like I mentioned archives from, people have been there.
Yeah.
The Turks were there for 500 years.
Yeah.
We came out of there on our own via the Ilinden Uprising.
Yeah.
Have a look into that.
Yeah.
No one helped us get out. We're the only country in that region to get out of the Ottoman rule themselves. And then once that happened, we were picked apart.
Okay.
By vultures.
Yeah,
Not one of our neighbours can tell us that they're our friend.
Yeah.
In that region.
Yeah.
Not one of them can say, we're your friend.
Hence why you guys wanted to join NATO.
No.
No?
No. Maybe that's what they think. No.
No.
NATO is just political,
Okay.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Okay, we gave our name up. But in saying that, I think we're missing an opportunity there as well.
Yeah.
By proclaiming there's a north, obviously in the last reel I said there's a south, there's an east, and there's a west. Can you argue with that? No, you can't. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So now you've said there's a north. Let's discuss the south.
Yeah.
Let's discuss the people that are ethnically Macedonian there.
Yeah.
Let's discuss the fact that there was a genocide there from a certain point from 1918 onwards.
Yeah, fuck.
And there's ongoing genocide by technically saying that we don't exist as Macedonians.
Yeah.
It's a political genocide. Tell me that I'm wrong.
No, that's right, yeah.
Currently ongoing.
Yeah.
We mentioned in the last 10 years on social media, we saw people getting, I'm not sure how this is going to come across but getting beheaded on YouTube, on socials. Like we saw those images.
Yeah.
That happened before in Macedonia.
Yeah.
Where the beheadees, the people that were doing the beheading, are in photos with their feet of the beheaded, which were Macedonian heads.
Yeah.
That happened, and by arguing that there's a Greek Macedonia, it's actually once again disregarding that happened.
Yeah.
So if you want to, technically, there is a Greek Macedonia, of course, based on occupation by default.
Yeah.
And now whoever lives in that region can call themselves by right Macedonian.
Yep.
But there also is a community there that sings and dances Macedonian songs and folk dancing.
Okay, yeah.
There's a flag there with the Macedonian sun, whatever you may call it, whether it's Vergina or Kutlesh or whatever, it's the Macedonian sun.
Okay.
Whether it's yellow with a red background or yellow with a white background or yellow with a blue background with Greek writing, Macedonia, as they would linguistically pronounce it when back in the day when Macedonia first came out of Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
While it was in Yugoslavia, it was a socialist federal republic of Macedonia.
Okay.
When it came out in Melbourne here, they started to call us Fyrom, former Yugoslavian Republic of Macedonia.
Yeah, okay.
If they call, it's still Macedonia.
Yeah.
So that's a fact. Let's lay that down. Can anyone argue that with me, that it's not Macedonia? So now it's North Macedonia. So it's north. It's missing something.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what's missing. So what did they do after 1913? Did they change the local names of the towns and villages in that region that's now occupied by Greece, which was never, ever historically anything connected to Greece prior to that point?
Yeah.
Only after the actual partition of Macedonia.
Yeah.
Prior to that, if you look at that region under Ottoman, under Roman, under Macedonian time, under any other time, Athens and that region part, the other part of Greece, the southern part, the Athenian region, whatever you want to call it, is never attached to that portion on the map. Let's look at that. That's historically a fact.
Yeah.
So now, let's look at from 1913 what that region looks like. It's been up until 2024 that's been locked into it. So that Bucharest Treaty has a 100-year timeline. Let's look at that 100-year timeline. So up until this point, from 1913 to what would that be? 2013.
Yeah.
So it's meant to be that treaty ends.
Yeah.
Has it ended?
I don't think so. I haven't seen anywhere that it's.
So technically, we're Macedonia. I'm going to say where because I'm ethnically born there in that region, and I speak the true Macedonian language.
Yep. Which is called
what?
What's it called?
Macedonian.
Is that what it's called?
Well, look it up. Argue with me.
I don't know.
But why are we here with the monitor?
Oh, I don't know.
Just look up Macedonian. But let's talk about what it comes up with. So you're going to have Wiki, which is who? The Britannica, Royal, that's essentially that. Wikipedia.
South Slavic. So that's...
All right. So it's a lot of contradictions here.
Yeah.
Okay? There's going to be so many contradictions in this if you start using this as the starting point.
Okay.
Okay? And you narrate this.
Yeah. Macedonia is an Eastern South Slavic language. It is part of the Indo-European language family and is one of the Slavic languages, which are part of a larger Balto-Slavic branch.
Balto-Slavic.
Oh, Balto, sorry.
Okay.
Spoken as a first language by around 1.6 million people, it serves as an official language of North Macedonia. Most speakers can be found in the country and its diaspora, with a smaller number of speakers throughout the transitional region of Macedonia. Recognized minority language in parts of Albania, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Romania and Serbia, and it is spoken by immigrant communities predominantly in Australia, Canada and United States. It was developed out of the Western dialects of the East-South Slavic dialect continuum, whose earliest recorded form of Old Church Slavonic. The dialect continuum was called Bulgarian, although the late 19th century its Western dialects came to known separately as Macedonia. Right, so they're saying that it was derived from Bulgarian.
That little blurb is only... Can you find on Wikipedia when things are amended? Because there's a tracker, yeah? They track all... This is edited by...
Yeah, it says additional citations needed, it says.
Yes. All right, so this is part of current movement that's occurring at the moment. All right, this is a new idea. These ideas arise also due to potentially some pushback that has occurred through the Macedonian diaspora as well. It's a repercussion from that.
Okay, yeah.
Because Pirin, Macedonia is in modern day Bulgaria.
Okay.
It's still like they occupy a portion of Macedonia. Fact. So when there's associated fears with, let's say, the main ambition now and has always been, and it's true, and let's call it what it is the reunification, the rightful unification of Macedonia, and eroding and dissolving any illegal framework that prevents it from occurring.
Yeah.
By right, by nature, by law.
Okay.
By biblical notation.
Yeah.
Because mind you, let's go back to the fact that they tried to erase the word Macedonia off the map. Who was that? The English. Why? Because they gained access to that whole region.
Yeah.
By default. It's part of the grand scheme.
Yeah. That's insane. Yeah, okay. And so now you say that it's predominantly taken over by, or you say that there's a lot of CIA bases there, George Soros and whatnot.
Because this is my understanding. This is my, so you're mentioning that. Okay, so I will have to explain a little bit why I think that is the case, because essentially that region, if you look at Macedonia ethnically, holistically, in terms of every claimed portion of it, and let's say that's all together. Yeah. And if that's the case, if you control that as it is meant to be, in my opinion, or whoever shares that opinion, and bring up that map, okay, the ethnic region of Macedonia.
Where are we?
Now just look at things on the map.
Is that it?
Ethnic composition of Macedonia, that's going into the composition of ethnicities within Macedonia, which would now be called Northern Macedonia. Yeah. But let's look into the expanded version of it.
This is Britannica.
All right.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby.
Yeah.
You put that together,
you
control the Balkans. You control the Balkans, you control Eastern Europe.
Absolutely.
Remember the flood of migrants that were coming from the Middle East? Yeah. Where were they getting stopped? At the Greek-Macedonian border.
Yeah.
The heart of it.
So Greece goes all the way up into there, does it? Yeah, okay.
What? So imagine the whole idea of the word Macedonia being taken off that map. There is an instance. Look at other maps, and you sort of, and then you can put dates on these maps, and I can fill each portion with how something ties into another.
Yeah.
Based on a timeline.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and then you can go in deeper. So that's the ethnic region of Macedonia.
Yeah.
Whose opinion is this? Can you tell me?
Britannica.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. So they would love this not to exist.
Yeah, it's on their website.
Let's dive into the... All right, let's see what it says.
Macedonia region in the south-central Balkans that comprises north-central Greece, southwestern Bulgaria, and the independent Republic of North Macedonia. The traditional boundaries of the geographical region of Macedonia are the lower Nestos River and the Rhodope Mountains on the east and Skopska.
Crnogora.
I don't know how to read
Black
that
Mountain.
Bordering southern Serbia on the north. The Karab Range and lakes Ohrid and Prespa on the west, and the Pindus Mountains and Aliakmon River on the south, including the Chalcidisi Peninsula. This stretch of land covers about 25,000 square miles. About 50% of the region lies in Greece, which it's with its centre.
So we thought in all these, there are a lot of intricacies and nuances that are argued back and forth.
Yeah.
From both sides, from the Greek angle. That's the oldest angle against Macedonia, pro-Greece. So initially it was only Greece. Okay, so hence why we say that there's an invention of Greek history, a claim to the ancient time.
Yep.
To antiquity.
Okay.
Their direct claim to antiquity.
Yep.
Via Hellenicism, and there's a sort of a wash within that.
Yeah.
So if because the way archaeologists move, and then the way we are taught about what we are as humans always goes back to ancient times and historical events.
Yeah.
This is all pertaining to Macedonia and what it means to the outer world. Because up until this point, it hasn't been argued that there is an ancient Macedonia until recently.
Okay.
So the argument is now, from one side, that it falls under the Greek idea. It potentially it does, and it also comes under the idea that Macedonia exists prior to that. There's that argument.
Yeah.
Ask the internet, what's older, Macedonia or Greece?
Ask Google.
Ask Google. All right. And then we'll give you a series of different quora and all these sort of internet answers, and let's go through them. Okay?
So first up it says, so if we consider, what is the reason, if we consider which is an older civilization, then it would be Greece, because the Greeks did form as this is from Quora though. This is somebody, this isn't Quora. The Kingdom of Macedonia was an ancient state in what is now the Macedonian region of northern Greece, founded in the mid-7th century BC.
So look at the play on words. What is now?
Yeah.
What was it before?
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Macedonia was a kingdom. Greece was in a kingdom at that time. So how can you supersede to the kingdom? But it wasn't known as Greece then. It was Athens.
It says here the name Macedonia is in fact the oldest surviving name of a country in the continent of Europe.
Fact.
Archaeological evidence shows that old European civilization flourished in Macedonia between 7000 and 3500 BC. That's old, bro.
Okay. So if you look at Macedonia, even now, there's parts of it where it's stuck in time. These people have been my Baba, I can see her now.
Yeah.
May she rest in heaven.
Yeah.
Okay. And people and my grandparents and before her, and traditionally how we wore our costumes.
Yeah.
Look because all our costumes are regionally based.
Yeah.
So have a look at a Macedonian national costume. And look at it in terms of that perspective as that civilization looking like that for an extended period of time. Domestically, in terms of the female, in terms of the mother.
Yeah.
You know.
These?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Like, and look at it. Look at these costumes and compare similar sort of costumes globally.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
how you can see like
look, in my heart and my mind, this is my origin. Okay. This is what I saw. My grandma. I have an apron that my grandmother made in her pattern that I own.
Yeah.
That's my connection to her, apart from our birth date.
Yeah.
My Babarada. All right, this goes into these costumes, traditionally made ones that are designed for representing our identity. This represents our story and our identity. The female, the mother version of our history, that side of our ancestry, is adorned in these beautiful garments.
Yeah.
And You'll see it in our folkloric dances, and our men, when we do folk dancing, it's tribal, and it's regional and local. It's symbolic of weddings and cultural events, funerals, this, that, and whatever. Struggle, maybe not funerals. I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that region is paganistic traditionally. Obviously, there's Christianity that arrived there.
Yeah.
Along the timeline of
what's the religion of Macedonia? Like, what are they?
Predominantly, we are. And if you look out on both sides, on all sides, it's Orthodox Christian.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the strong.
Yeah.
Like if you combine, let's argue for the combined. That would be
Orthodox Christian. Yeah.
And historically, throughout the region, there's been Vlach Vlach Macedonians or Vlach people.
Yeah. Sorry, continue. Yeah. So you could. I mean, if somebody showed me a photo of that and said, "Which country do you think it would be?" I would think. I mean, to me, you see different
perspectives,
almost like Russian. You see a bit of Croatian. You see Serbian. You see it all.
All that.
I wouldn't be able to pinpoint.
You wouldn't.
No.
But it also extends beyond that too, because if you look at traditional dress and costume, I think this is more connected to ancient civilization and the way of life than it is to modern day of life. And I don't think it was that far detached from 100 years ago or 20 years ago.
Yeah.
These people still exist and live like that and wear simplified versions of our natural regional costumes amongst the villages and so forth, where time hasn't affected as much.
Yeah.
And being close to technology. But that's less and less.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. Imagine 20 years back how much closer it was. It's not that long ago our society has been connected to that point of time would have been closer to ancient times.
Okay.
To 200, 300. It may or may not have evolved with the influence of Ottoman of the last 500 years.
Yeah.
But they also say within the last 400-500 years there was a Slavic migration there.
Yeah.
But there's no solid proof that the Slavs migrated there. There's an argument to say that the Macedonian way of life, culture from that point of time and before has influenced and created expansion from that point out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Influencing linguistics and the written language of, let's say, Cyrillic Russian. Yeah. That's based on the Macedonian Cyrillic script. And that's a fact. People hate to hear that.
Yeah.
Let's look that up. And it all ties back to Macedonia.
Yeah.
Did Russia have the orthodoxy before or after Macedonia got Christianity there?
Yeah.
Like, it became orthodoxy in that region.
Yeah. It reminds me a bit of like the conflict happening in Egypt and that with like their pyramids and that. How like, that they don't, a lot of people don't want to let go of the fact that the pyramids weren't actually built by the Egyptians. They might have been built by older people.
But what's Egypt now versus what it was back then? So yes, Egypt was a civilization. Do the modern day Egyptians of that state, are they entitled to lay any genetic claim to that Egyptian race that existed? What time, at what point of time are we talking about? Let's say
11,000 BC.
So the pyramids, when were they built? They argued probably could have been multiple human existences prior to that. Have they carbon dated?
I'm not sure.
I think creation
so.
I
think they have. Yeah. I don't
right,
want
so how long back are we looking for Egypt? All right. Let's say Macedonia, the name exists within the consciousness of the universe 10,000 years.
Yeah.
What's the consciousness of the Egyptian
You're older,
universe?
so 3,100. So you're older. and then into its conquest by Alexander the Great in 332 BC.
So Alexander conquered it 3,000 years ago.
No, he conquered it in 332.
So which is technically 2,300
years,
400 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Prior to that, how old is Greece? How old is Egypt?
3,000 BC.
So 3,000. But Macedonia exists. How many?
7,000. It said. Yeah.
So Macedonia is older than Egypt.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that's what they said. Yeah, Macedonia was 7,000 BC.
Okay. So because there are people that I've researched or seen videos on that are talking about the existence of Macedonia being from that point and about 10,000 or so.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
There's connection to there is definite connection to, and we can continue to break this down, to what the language is now, to going back, and we can move our way back.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So, I mean, how can anyone, logically based on this claim, any modern state claim superseding rule over the name Macedonia or the language of... It defies logic.
It does,
yeah. So, obviously, there's a paternal link there. It keeps evolving as an origin story.
Yeah.
There's some sort of origination. Something's originating from Macedonia.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it expanded as so through Alexander's rule, it conquered, that name went out beyond.
Yeah.
How far did it expand? It didn't expand as Greece or Bulgaria. It didn't expand as Albania or Serbia or Egypt or Romania, Russia, Germany, as much as the Germans would like to think so.
Yeah.
We never got a Prince Otto. So let's go into that. So what did Greece receive in the 1800s? Let's go there. All right. So let's sort of, whoever's following this, and if we can always go back to this. All right.
Yeah.
Back to all the points that we've made prior to this point. So what did Greeks? So all right. Let's go into this point. Greece established. Put this into the map, into the fucking, what do you call it? Google. Magnifying glass panel.
Yeah.
Okay, let's discuss that.
I mean, that's as a modern nation state in 1830.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, that's barely 200 years old.
Okay, there's a lot that speaks for itself.
It does, yeah.
Let's put that in the timeline.
Yeah.
We can expand on that. So who established Greece? So there must have been someone that established.
The Minoans.
What does that mean? See, now we're getting what
excavations
is this?
have shown that the first settlement dates back to the
now we're starting all this.
area.
All right. Let's leave that on the side. I'm not arguing that point there now.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm trying to point out. So who established the modern state of Greece?
Yeah.
Okay, and there was circumstances around that. Let's be real about this, because they had to come out of Ottoman rule. They came out of Ottoman rule 100 years prior.
Yeah.
Almost to the dot. Okay? These sequence of events were timed by the greater powers, and there are greater powers. Let's not be oblivious to this.
No.
Okay.
Who established Greece?
How was Greece formed? I want to know. Let's go into that. 18th.
The Greek War of Independence from the Ottoman Empire began in 1821 and concluded with the winning of independence
with the support of England, France, and Russia.
Yeah, a monarchy was established.
All right, By who? Bavarian Prince Otto. Who are the Bavarians? The Germans.
Yeah.
Who disregard us as much as anyone else? The Germans as a who? Yes, we can go. There's more to delve into there.
There's heaps, man. This is never ending.
So these perspectives, these are the perspectives and narratives I wanted to discuss with you on this platform.
Sorry, camera. We've been going for a while. This camera's getting hot. Yeah, man. What's the time? What are we going for? You should be going, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Man, there's a lot to unpack. Do you reckon we should do a part 2 next week?
Yes, we're gonna continue on from this video because we'll reserve it. We'll give it the respect that it deserves everyone.
What I'll do is
I'm not here to cause trouble with anyone. All right?
No.
I just want to discuss and put out the way I've done my research and what I've come across I can show you. There's plenty. There's plenty to discuss. It's not so simple.
Yeah. Because I did spring it on you. You know, I didn't give you really much time to think about it.
This is my life.
I thought you would be.
Life's research.
Yeah.
I questioned everything. I question everything.
Yeah.
I'm very open to discussion.
Yeah.
Let's be civilized.
All right. I reckon this is a good opening. So we'll put this episode out. We'll see what people say about the different things.
Mm-hmm.
I'll compile some questions and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll actually do a bit more research on it and actually have a structure to it.
Because even with this last video, there's gonna be interjections. There's gonna be. I'm gonna have to sort of. I can guarantee you, if people let me explain myself, you won't be as upset.
No.
But sometimes though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes that's kind of exactly the point. You know, that's what aggravates people the most.
Yeah.
The truth.
Yeah, I mean that's just how it is. That's life, man.
Even from my fellow Macedonians, man.
Yeah.
You get
hate.
They not hate, but don't question me, bro. I mean it with love.
Yeah,
for
sure.
everyone, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, you're not doing it out of malice. You're not trying to be a dick. This is what you've researched. This is what you've found out. This is what you've kind of come to the conclusion of.
You know,
let's spread it out.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, man.
And I can respond to certain people. I'd like to respond to him in Macedonian. I can read and write Macedonian. I've been there. And it's enough in my DNA that I'm Macedonian, man.
Yeah.
On my census, I'm Macedonian.
Yeah.
Not North, not East, not South, not Greek, not Bulgarian, not Albanian, not
Serbian.
I'm Macedonian, and I'm naturalized here in Australia, and makes me an Macedonian Australian. An Australian.
And there's absolutely fucking nothing wrong with that.
And thank you very much for the opportunity to be that.
Exactly. Yeah.
In the land, like I said before, my grandfather had the opportunity to be here through a valid reason.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
There was a bilateral opportunity, and we took advantage of that because we could. It wasn't out of shame or anything against. I'm proud, man.
Yeah.
We were able to sustain an identity just by being part of Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
However that looked for anyone else in and out of the diaspora. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For that time.
Yeah.
You know, my grandfather worked his butt off. He was a builder. And his skills were valuable.
Yeah.
And that work ethic transferred over to my father, to my uncles, my grandmother, myself, hopefully my kids, my family. And that's, you know, we were known as a people coming to, and I'll speak for and I know that I've learnt that Australians of the time, like when Macedonians first arrived to Australia, it may or may not have been for the most ideal reasons initially.
Yeah.
And they came to work, and may or may not have came to escape.
Yeah.
From as early as 1920s, 30s, maybe around that time. you know, and they may or may not have landed on Australian soil as Macedonians.
Yeah.
They may or may not have arrived here as Greeks.
Yeah.
But they're still Macedonians because what happened to them? They weren't allowed to speak their language,
Yeah.
say Macedonian names, identify as a Macedonian. So how many on Ancestry, or let's say the Australian census,
Yeah.
would say Greek when in
Okay.
actual fact
It's Macedonian.
they would
I see it, yeah.
and or even still, you know, you can be born in Bulgaria, in that region of Bulgaria, which is also known as Pidin Macedonia or Macedonia, and be an Australian, Macedonian, Bulgarian, Australian, technically.
Yeah.
This is my point in a nutshell. No one has the right to tell me whether or not I can call myself a Macedonian
Yeah.
or an Australian Macedonian,
Yeah.
or an
Whatever.
Australian, or
Yeah.
however I want.
Yeah. You use the pronouns that you want to use, bro.
Thank God people
Yeah.
understand that.
I know.
Thank you.
Finally, bro.
Because if you can call yourself a carrot,
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
But please be happy for me when I say I am Macedonian.
Australian. Yeah, man. I reckon that's good to end it there, bro.
Time out. Thank you very much.
Well done. We'll be back next week.